What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Locked in Sports, bringing you my 7 best bets for today, Friday, March 29th, in the NBA. That's right, we're doing 7 picks. Normally try to keep it at 4 to 6 here on the channel, but there were too many good bets today, so I'm going with 7. Before we hop into the picks, gotta hop into the recap. Before I hop into the recap, I just want to say that if you're watching these videos a lot, you're making money with them, which, let's be fair, I know you are because you have a great record here on the channel, then consider subscribing and turning on notifications. It lets you get updated when I drop videos, which helps because the lines like to change after I drop the video, so the sooner you see it, the better lines you get. And it also helps out the channel's growth. And as always, like and leave a comment. It means a lot to me. It really does help with the channel. Now to hop into a recap. Yesterday was not a great day. Not a good day at all. It was 0-4. First completely losing day we've had here on the channel. It was a rough one. Luckily, we still have a really good winning record overall. I'm proud of that. But to go over the specific picks, we had Jason Tatum's over his first quarter points. He did great the rest of the game, but went out of the first quarter early, and when he came back, he just didn't do anything. Just didn't look good. Got taken out, and then the Celtics start going on a roll once he's out, but yeah, just not a good position to be in. We had Damian Lillard for higher on his PRA line. He was 2 under it. Rough. Just rough. Herbert Jones over on his points line. He was a point under. Rough. Just really rough. And Brook Lopez higher on his point line. He did not score for the first I don't know how long. He got to 7. His line was at 9.5. Just rough all around. Yeah. But that was yesterday. That was a smaller slate. Today, with a big slate, so many great picks. I couldn't narrow it down to 6. So yeah, I'm feeling really confident. And to have a 7-0 today would be great. And I see it happen. Let's hop into the picks. Whoa! How'd you guys like that intro? I whipped that up earlier. Thinking to add it to the videos now. I think it's pretty cool. Good intro to the picks. Anyway, first pick of the day comes from the Charlotte Hornets. I'm taking Nick Richards for over 9.5 points. Why? Well, he's been averaging 9.4 over his last 10, about this line, but he dropped 11 on the Warriors last time they played, and he's over this line in 4 of his last 5 games. Nick Richards is a center. He's going to have a really good height advantage on the Warriors. And yeah, he's just been over this line really consistently. He's been playing good minutes, putting up good points, and I don't see any reason to take his lower. So I'm taking Nick Richards for over 9.5 points. This next pick comes from the LA Clippers. I'm picking PG-13, Paul George for over 21.5 points. Why? Well, he's been averaging 25.1 over his last 10 games. He dropped 27 on Orlando previously, and he's over this in 4 of his last 5 games. This is one of those picks, no matter how you slice it, it's a great spot to back him. I like the pick. I think the line's just too low. So yeah, picking Paul George for over 21.5 points. Next up from the Indiana Pacers, I'm taking Pascal Siakam for over 22.5 points. Why? Well, he's been averaging 23.3 over his last 10, but he averages 30.5 against the Lakers. Way above this line. He's been over it in 4 of his last 5 games. If you're seeing a streak, over in 4 of the last 5 is a spot where I really like to back a player. You rarely find a line where they're over in 5 of their last 5. Do have one of those coming up later. It's a line I love. But when I see someone who is averaging over a line and their matchup is good, they're averaging over that line, and they're over in 4 of their last 5, it's a locked-in bet. Like I said, I'm taking Pascal Siakam for over 22.5 points. This next pick comes from the Detroit Pistons, one of the most underrated centers in the league. I'm taking Jalen Duren for over 12 rebounds. Why? Well, he's been averaging 13.1 rebounds over his last 10 games, above this line, but he averages 17 against Washington. He's over in 3 of his last 5 games as well, and Washington doesn't have a center. They don't. Yeah. Their main rebounder is Denny Avdia, and all respect to Denny, but he's not boxing out Jalen Duren for rebounds. Jalen Duren is massive. He's going to be picking up boards left and right. In fact, Avdia only averages 4.3 rebounds against Detroit, half of what he normally averages. This is just such a good spot for Jalen Duren to do what he does every time he plays the Wizards and just grab a ton of boards. So yeah, I'm taking Jalen Duren for over 12 rebounds. For this next pick, I'm hopping over to the Phoenix Suns, and I'm taking an under. And I get it if you don't like betting unders. They're not the most fun to watch. But when you have a locked-in under, when you have something that's definitely going to make you money, you can't pass on it like this one. I'm taking Yusuf Nurkic for under 10.5 points. Why? Well, he's been averaging 8.7 over his last 10 under this line. He averages 8.5 against OKC under this line. But most importantly, he's under it in 5 straight. Yeah. The pick I mentioned earlier that had 5 straight, the last 5, yeah, it's Yusuf Nurkic. He just hasn't been hitting this line recently at all. He only has double-digit points in 1 game in his last 5, and it was at 10, still under. I don't know what's going on with the dude, but he's just not been scoring recently, and this isn't a good matchup for him. So I'm easily taking Yusuf Nurkic for under 10.5 points. Next up, I'm taking a player from Miami Heat. I'm taking someone that I'm really starting to like as of late because he hit for us in the first quarter for the last time we took his full game points line. And I'm taking him again. It's Nikola Jovic for over 7.5 points. Why? Well, he's averaging 8.8 over his last 10. And previously in this matchup, he dropped 8 in 15 minutes. He's averaging closer to 23, 25 minutes now. And he's over this line in 4 of his last 5 in both high and low minute games. He's over in 4 of 5, including games where he played 30 plus and games where he was under 20. So, yeah, whether or not Nikola has a lot of minutes in this game, I think he's easily going over 8. Like I said, I took his points line in the previous video. It was at 7.5. He hit that later on, but I grabbed it early at 6.5, and he had that in the first quarter. So I think he does the same again and clears this line in the first half easily. So yeah, Nikola Jovic for over 7.5 points. Now for my last locked-in bet of the day, I'm hopping over to the Utah Jazz, and I'm taking John Collins for over 14.5 points. Why? Well, he's averaging 17.3 over his last 10, and he averages 16 against Houston. And he was playing fewer minutes in those games as compared to what he's playing now on average. So, yeah, he's over in 4 of his last 5. And Lauri Markkanen might be out. Lauri Markkanen's out. John Collins sees more action. Yeah, I can keep going. This is possibly my favorite bet of the day. He's averaging just so far above this line, both against Houston and over his last 10. And if he plays the amount of minutes that he's playing now on average against Houston, I think he's easily going over 20, without a doubt. So I'm definitely locking in John Collins for over 14.5 points. All right, those are my 7 best bets for today, Friday, March 29th in the NBA. And now, as always, I want to hand out my cutting room floor picks to you all. If you're new here, I do a lot of research for these videos, a few hours minimum, especially on big days like today. And I dig up a lot of picks that I really like. And some of these picks might not make it into my top 6, 7, however many I put in the main section of the video, but they're still good picks that I like. And yeah, if you need some to add to a parlay, you just like the player, or you were thinking about taking the pick anyway, these are some extra additional picks that I like. So I'll rattle them off real quick. I got Andrew Nembhard for over 9.5 points. He's averaging 10.4 over his last 10 and dropped 15 on the Lakers previously. Kyle Kuzma for over 22.5. He averages 23 over his last 10, and he averages 27.7 against the Pistons. Denny Avdia for under 9 rebounds. talked about it earlier. He's only averaging 4.3 against Detroit. Jalen Duren kills this man. Kyle Lowry for over 6.5 points. He averages 7 over his last 10 games, but he averages 22.5 against the Cavs. Crazy good matchup for him. Just insane. Jarrett Allen over 16.5 points. He's been averaging 17 over his last 10, and he averages 23.7 against Philly. Another great matchup right there. DeMar DeRozan over 5.5 first quarter points. He averages 4.2 over his last 10, so under. But he's averaged 8.5 first quarter points against the Nets this season. Great matchup. I have Jeremy Sohan for over 12.5 points. I know Jeremy Sohan was kind of a joke earlier in the season, but he's pulling better now. He has 14.2 over his last 10, and he dropped 16 on New York previously, so I like him here. Rudy Gobert for under 12.5 points. He's averaging 11.7 over his last 10, only had 4 against Denver previously, and he's under in 4 of his last 5, and he's injured. Might not see full minutes, might not play. Only reason I didn't fully endorse him here is because of how many other players in the Nuggets versus Timberwolves are questionable. I just didn't feel good about fully backing anyone from that matchup. But if Joker and Jamal Murray are playing, and if Ant is out, Ant is in, I really like this Rudy Gobert line. And lastly, I have Mike Conley for over 11.5 points. He averages 13.2 over his last 10, and he's been averaging 15 against Denver over in 3 of his last 5. But same deal, I didn't want to fully endorse anyone from this matchup just because of how many people are injured. But all right, those were my cutting room floor picks. Hope you guys heard something that you liked, something you want to take, something that's going to make some money for you. And now, as always, if you like the video, if you like the picks, and you're thinking about taking some of them, please subscribe, turn on notifications. Yeah, like I said earlier, you can get the lines when they're at their best if you can watch the video as soon as it comes out. And comment your own picks, parlays down in the comment section below. I love seeing them. I love responding to them. I love sweating out those picks with you guys. Just makes watching the NBA even more fun. And like the video. The channel has been kind of going a little crazy recently. I'm not going to get into exact numbers, but YouTube is promoting my video about 40 times as much as it was previously, my last 2. And yeah, it's awesome to be seen by a wider audience. It is just really cool and really rewarding to know that the videos that I like are being well received and are getting the views and the watch time and the comments and the likes for them to get promoted more. And it's just really fulfilling to see that happen. So yeah, thank you guys so much for the comments, for the likes, for everything that you put back into the channel. It means the world to me, and let's keep making some money. So, as always, have a good one, and let's make some money. Yeah.